Now, today we are going to be talking about percent of a number, which we have not done before, so this is going to be a little bit different. Not really difficult, but just different. Okay, and I do have a formula written out right up here for you to copy down. So you should not have a hard time doing it, but if we can plug these numbers into our formula, we'll be able to find our answer fairly simply. All right, so let's take a look. Like I said, we are working on percent of a number, and our formula, I actually wrote down two formulas. We have the first one I'm going to use is going to be is over of equals percent over 100, and I know that's somewhat confusing right now, but whenever we get down to the examples, you will see what I'm talking about, and it'll become a little bit more clear. Or you could also say part over whole equals percent over 100. The reason why we're setting up these proportions is because, we're setting our part over whole equal to our percent over 100 because the percent typically is the part, and the whole is to a percent is 100. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first example down here and set this up. Now this one right here says 67% of 90, and we're trying to find, well, it's basically saying what is 67% of the number 90. Okay? Now, obviously, this has the word of in it, which I believe we're going to be finding only the ofs today on our work. So that's going to be the denominator for our fraction up here, and we're going to be trying to find the is. So whenever I set this up, my is my question mark. My 90 is my of. I'm going to set that equal to 67 is my percent over 100. Okay. Now, once I have that proportion set up, now I solve it just like I solve all my proportions. I cross multiply and then divide. So I'm going to cross multiply 67 times 90, and then I'm going to divide by 100. Okay, so whenever I multiply 67 times 90, I get 6,030. Okay, I get 6,030. Okay, then I have to divide by 100. Now remember, when we divide by 100, that's kind of like the same thing as just moving our decimal over two places. Okay, so instead of doing all the work out here, I'm just going to take my 6,030 and move my decimal over two places. 1, 2. So I know it's going to be 60.3. So 67% of 90 is going to be 60.3. And that's my answer. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is a little bit different because if you notice, we have a percent that's actually larger than 100, okay, which should indicate that my answer has to be bigger than 210 because 100% of 210 is 210, so any percent larger than 100 has to result in a number larger than 210. So let's go ahead and start again. I'm going to use my formula, my is over of equals percent over 100. So I know that my percent is 145. I'm going to put that over 100. And I know that my of is 210. So my question mark is in the same place. Again, we're going to cross multiply. So the first thing I need to do is multiply 210 times 145. Multiply those guys together, which gives me a big number. When I multiply those guys together, it gives me 30,450. Then I have to divide by 100, which, remember, dividing by 100 is just moving over my decimal two places, 1, 2. So that's going to be 304.5. Okay. If you wanted to say that there was a hard part, I guess that the multiplying would be the hard part. But yes, multiplying is the hardest thing on this. All right, so let's take a look at number 3, so we can finish up, so we can move on. Number 3, again, we're going to set up our formula. We're going to have our 8% over 100, and that's going to be our question mark over 50. Okay, and again, we're going to cross multiply and then divide by 100. So I'm going to cross multiply 8 times 50. And 8 times 50 gives me what? 400? Then I have to move my decimal over 2 places because remember we're dividing by 100. So 1, 2. So that's going to leave me with just 4. So I know that 8% of 50 is 4. Not hard. Okay, well, let's take a look at our fourth and final one. Now, number 4 is a little bit different because if you notice, there is a decimal in our percent here. We don't treat that any differently. We're still going to have our question mark over our of, which is 36. Then we're going to set that equal to 0.5 over 100. Now, what's different about this is, obviously, I'm multiplying it times a decimal. Now, and whenever I multiply 36 times 0.5, I actually get 18. Okay, so if we were to multiply 36 times 0.5, that gives me, actually gives me 180. I have to move my decimal over 1 place, which gives me 18. Now I have to divide by 100. So when I divide that by 100, means I have to move my decimal over 2 places, 1, 2. So that's going to leave me with 0.18. Well, the decimal started when we multiplied 0.5 times 36, it gave me 18. Okay? Now, once I have 18 and I divide that by 100, remember it's essentially the same thing as saying move my decimal over to the left 2 places. So I'll move my decimal over 1, 2, which that's how I get 0.18. Yeah, I got, well, it equaled, whenever I multiplied 36 times 5, I got 180, and then I had to move it over 1 place, which gave me 18, and then 18 divided by 100 gives me 0.18. Yes. All right, questions on any of those? Oh, no, remember the hardest part is just the multiplying, but I'm confident that all of you can do that. All right,